Let's be honest. Air travel today has a new status symbol. And it's not extra legroom or fancy lounge access, it's overhead bin space. The whole boarding process has turned into a competitive sport where the only prize is that small rectangle of metal above the seat. And the losers? They get a surprise gate check tag, a potential fee they never saw coming, and a slow burn of resentment for the entire flight. It's a systemic problem airlines helped create, training us to haul the maximum amount of luggage on board and then forcing us to fight for space that just does not exist for everyone. This friction, this bin rage, is a direct result of a massive shift in airline baggage policies that's causing chaos for travelers who have no clue about the new changes. It's leading to surprise fees, delayed luggage, and travel nightmares that are completely avoidable. Last year, airlines collected over $33 billion in baggage fees. A huge chunk of that comes from the recent policy shifts that most travelers know nothing about. This isn't just about paying a few extra bucks. It's about a fundamental change in how airlines operate. It leads to that moment of panic at the departure gate when an agent points at your bag, the one that's flown with you a dozen times before, and tells you it's not coming on the plane. Before your next flight, you need to understand the new reality of bringing a bag with you. I'm going to show you the critical mistakes that lead to these travel nightmares and exactly how to avoid them. Because what you don't know is costing you money and your peace of mind. The single biggest mistake that travelers are making right now is assuming that their old carry-on bag is still compliant. For years, the unofficial rule was if it fits, it flies. Well, that era is over. Airlines are now enforcing their carry-on size limits with a strictness we've never seen before. Picture this. You're at the departure gate. You're ready to board the plane. You've used the same roller bag for 5 years without a single issue. But today, the gate agent directs you to that metal sizer that you've always ignored. You try to slide your bag in, but it's just a little too snug. The wheels and the handle, which you never thought to measure, are adding an inch. 10 seconds later, you're on the floor, frantically pulling your laptop and your medication out before they tag your bag and send it into an abyss of checked luggage. Worse, you might get hit with a hefty fee for that privilege. So, why the sudden luggage crackdown? There are two main reasons. First, overhead bin space is now the most valuable real estate on the plane. With more people trying to avoid the checked bag fees, aircraft cabins, are overloaded. To speed up the boarding process, airlines are cracking down before you step on the plane. Gate agents are judged on on-time departures, and hunting down bin space for oversized bags is a delay that they're incentivized to avoid. In fact, some reports and even airline confirmations show that gate agents are at certain budget carriers like Frontier and Spirit Airlines receive bonuses for every oversized bag that they catch and check at the departure gate. I'm not kidding you. This enforcement is getting more aggressive, as you can see. Airlines are using sizers at check-in and also at the boarding gates, and that leaves no room for debate. If your bag doesn't slide in and out easily, it's deemed oversized. Here's the solution. The first thing you must do before your next trip is a simple tape measure test. Measure your bag from the very bottom of the wheels to the very top of the compressed handle. Measure its absolute widest and deepest points, including any bulging pockets. The most common dimension limit that you will see is 22 by 14 by 9 inches, used by carriers like American Airlines, Delta, and United. But this is not a universal rule because Southwest, for example, allows a more generous 24 by 16 by 10 inches. With these changes, your bag's original sales tag is now irrelevant. The only number that matters is the one listed on the airline's website for that specific flight that you're going on. Never assume. Instead, you should always verify. For a long time, one airline built its identity on a powerful promise. Bags fly free. It was a core reason that millions chose Southwest Airlines. While that policy hasn't been completely eliminated for everyone, it has been significantly scaled back for many fare brackets, marking a huge psychological shift in the industry. This brings us to the second critical mistake. Excuse me, and that's assuming that you know an airline's baggage policy based on its old reputation. For bookings on Southwest made on or after May the 28th, 2025, many passengers now have to pay for checked bags, with fees starting from $35 for the first bag and $45 for the second. Only elite members or those who purchase premium fares still get that free bag that they're used to. This is part of a larger industry trend where amenities that were once standard are being unbundled from the base ticket price. Airlines are playing a shell game, or maybe I should say a chess game. They lure you into a low airfare, knowing a huge percentage of travelers will have to pay for add-ons, effectively raising the total trip cost. To add to the changes, as of January 27, 2026, Southwest also officially ditched its famous open seating policy. They've now moved to assigned seats and a new boarding route structure, making the experience feel much more like other major carriers. Here's the solution. You can no longer rely on brand reputation. Before you book any flight, you have to investigate the baggage allowance tied to the specific fare class. Not just the airline, the fare class that you are purchasing. Don't just look at the airline's general policy. Look at the policy for basic economy, main cabin, or whatever they call their tiers. A slightly higher fare that includes a free checked bag might actually be cheaper than the lowest fare plus a paid bag. For a couple traveling, two people, that difference could easily save you over $140 on a round trip. The third major mistake is a simple one, born from procrastination, and that is waiting until you get to the airport to pay for your bags. Airlines are now actively penalizing you for doing this, creating a two-tiered price system designed to push you to pay online. Okay, so I know this is a lot, so I know that it is, and it's confusing, and honestly, it feels like it's designed to be, if you ask me. Trying to remember every airline's specific rules and all the little tricks that they use is a full-time job. Since you all asked for this kind of video, I've put together the ultimate carry-on travel bundle to make it easier for you so that you don't have to memorize all of this. In this bundle, you will receive printable cheat sheets with every major airline size and weight limits, a 2026 enforcement checklist so that you know what to watch out for, video guides with my favorite packing techniques, and my ebook titled The Carry-On Only Blueprint. This is everything that you need to make sure that you never pay an unexpected bag fee ever again. The link is going to be in the description. Grab it today so you are fully prepared for your next trip. You'll thank me later. Now let's look at American Airlines. For a domestic flight, the first checked bag is $35 if you pay online, but it jumps to $40 if you wait and pay at the airport. The second bag is $45 online, but paying at the check-in counter will cost you more. The difference might not sound like a lot, but the airline calls it a nudge, a deliberate incentive to get you to use their app and their website. Why? Well, it helps them forecast the number of bags that will be on that flight and streamlines check-in, reducing lines and staffing needs. American Airlines is not the only airline. United Airlines follows a similar model, and this is the absolute standard for budget carriers like Spirit and Frontier, where the price difference can be enormous. On those airlines, a carry-on bag that might cost you around $60 online could skyrocket to nearly $100 if you pay for it at the departure gate. They are banking on your last-minute panic, and they are profiting handsomely from that every single day. But here's your solution, and this is the easiest problem to solve. Make paying for your bags part of your online check-in process 24 hours before your flight. Set a reminder on your phone. When you check in, you'll be prompted to declare and pay for your bags. Doing it at that time will almost always get you the lowest possible price. Think of the airport counter as an emergency option with a convenience fee attached to it. Avoiding it is a guaranteed way to save money on every single trip. The fourth mistake is falling into the basic economy trap. These bare bones fares look incredibly tempting, but they are minefield of restrictions designed to make you pay more for things that you assumed were standard, especially your bags. United Airlines is a prime example. If you buy a basic economy ticket for a domestic flight, you're generally not allowed a full-size carry-on bag. Can you imagine that? You're only permitted one small personal item, like a backpack or a purse, that must fit under the seat in front of you. We're talking dimensions around 9 by 10 by 17 inches. If you show up at the departure gate with a standard roller bag, you're going to be forced to check it and pay a gate handling fee on top of the regular bag fee, which can instantly wipe out any savings that you thought you were getting. However, the rules are maddeningly inconsistent. While United Airlines restricts carry-ons for domestic basic economy, Delta still allows a full-size carry-on bag plus a personal item bag with its basic fare. This inconsistency in the industry is where travelers get burned. You fly on one airline's basic fare with no problem and assume that another airline will be the same. It's a costly assumption. So here's your solution. Before you click purchase on a basic economy ticket, make sure you read the fine print like a hawk. Look for the baggage allowance section during booking. Most sites have a pop-up or a comparison chart stating what is and isn't included. So make sure you do the math. If a basic economy fare is $189 and the standard economy ticket is $229, that's a $40 difference. If you know you need to check a bag for $35, you are better off buying the standard ticket. You'll often get other perks as well, such as the ability to choose your seat when you do that. The fifth mistake happens all the time on long-haul flights, assuming that the baggage rules for your first flight apply to your entire trip. And that's not the case. This is especially dangerous when you have a connection to an international partner airline. And I'm going to explain. You might start your trip in the US on American Airlines or United Airlines with a carry-on that meets their domestic standards. But then you connect in Europe or Asia to a budget carrier for the final leg of your journey. Suddenly, your perfectly acceptable carry-on is a major problem. Many international airlines are far stricter about both luggage size and luggage weight. While the US carriers rarely weigh carry-on bags, it's a common practice for airlines to do this internationally. You'll often find carry-on weight limits between 7 and 10 kilograms, roughly 15 to 22 pounds. That laptop, a pair of shoes, and your toiletries can easily push you over the limit. I've seen travelers breeze through their first flight only to be stopped at the connecting gate and forced to pay a hefty fee because their bag was a few kilos too heavy. It's a jarring and expensive surprise. Here's the solution though. When you book an international trip, listen carefully. Check the baggage policies for every single airline on your itinerary. The most important phrase on your ticket is operated by. Even when you booked the whole trip to United Airlines, if your flight from Paris to Rome is operated by Lufthansa, you are subject to Lufthansa Airlines rules for that flight. So check their website for both size and weight restrictions and pack for the strictest airline on your ticket. This one habit prevents the flight connection nightmare that you don't want to have. It's obvious that the travel game has changed. The simple act of bringing a bag on a plane is now a strategic challenge filled with hidden fees and shifting rules. The biggest mistakes all come from outdated assumptions. Assuming your old bag still works, assuming that an airline's reputation is its policy, waiting to pay at the airport, ignoring the fine print, and failing to check rules for connecting flights. And of course, subscribing to a channel like this, where I bring updates multiple times per week. You have to subscribe if you want to keep up. By watching this video today, you now know better. And by doing your homework, you can navigate this new world flawlessly. Always, always, always measure your bag, including the wheels and the handles. Always verify the rules for your exact fare and every airline that you're flying on. and always prepay for bags online before you get to the airport. You're now equipped with the insider knowledge that separates a smooth trip from a travel disaster. You now understand the travel game. You know the traps and you have the strategies to beat them. You can now outsmart the airlines, and that's what I want to do for you. Okay? If this video guide helped you in any way, please consider subscribing for more deep dives into the world of travel. I'm here to make sure that you always fly smarter. Let me know in the comment section, what's the most ridiculous baggage fee that you've ever run into? I read every single comment. And please do not forget to grab that product that I mentioned before, which is the ultimate carry-on travel bundle. It will save you a ton of stress. And it's a great companion to learning how to travel like a pro. Thank you so much for watching this video to the end. Safe travels and please pack smart. See you in the next video.